We're on to cycle 2. In cycle 2, we're going to see Freak and Max called some names. So let's read these here so that we know what that means when we get there. The first one is Mutt and Jeff, which is a comic strip about Mutt, a tall, dim gambler, and Jeff, a tiny inmate of an insane asylum. The second one is Frankenstein's monster is a fictional 8-foot tall, hideously ugly creature built in a lab by Dr. Frankenstein. Igor is Dr. Frankenstein's small hunchback assistant. And then finally, Andre the Giant was a 7-foot tall French wrestler and actor, and dwarfism is a medical condition that causes short stature. So we see these pairs of people here, and we're going to see them get called a couple names in this next little section. Now we know what they mean. Starting on page 32, open up your book with Turns Out. Turns out the things to worry about is not kid stompers, but beer swillers, like I mentioned before. Because Freak and I are still a couple of blocks from the pond, just kind of easing our way along when these punks start mouthing off. Hey you, Mutt and Jeff, Frankenstein and Igor, don't turn around, I'm talking to you, boneheads. What is it? Or what is this, a freak show? I know that voice. Tony D. They call him Blade. He's at least 17 and he's already been to juvie court 3, 4 times. I heard he cut a guy with a razor and he almost died. And everybody says the best way to handle Tony D and his gang is you avoid them. Cross the street, hide, whatever it takes. Yeah, you, he goes, and he's doing this hippity walk, strutting along. He's got these fancy cool cowboy boots with metal toes. Yeah, Andre the Giant and the Dwarf. Hold on a sec, I want a word with you. Only the way he walks, he goes, wanna void witcha. Except it's bad enough having to listen to the creep. I don't want to have a, I don't want to have to spell the dumb way he walks. Anyhow, big mistake. We stop and wait for Tony D, alias the Bad News Blake. Got any dudes? He asks, pretending like he's friendly. He's a couple of feet away, but you can smell the beer on his breath. Also, it smells like he ate something dead, for instance, roadkill. But maybe that's my imagination. Pay attention, Tony says. I asked, did you got any? Freak, his chest all puffed out and his chin looks hard, and he's looking right up at Tony D, and he says, got any what? Tony D has his hands on his hips, and his punkster pals are trying to get closer, working through the crowd. He leans over Freak and he says, boomers, you little freak, M80s, maybe a rack of cherry bombs. Is that what's making a lump in your pocket, huh? Freak starts to hump himself away, trying to walk faster than he can, which makes his leg brace bump against the ground. Come on, Maxwell, he says over his shoulder. Ignore the cretin. Blade goes, hey, what? And he moves right in front of Freak. Want to say that again, little freak man? Freak says, cretin. Cretin, defined as one who suffers from mental deficiency. Hearing how little tiny Freak is dissing the fearsome Tony D, alias Blade, I can't help it. I laugh out loud. Tony D is looking up at me and he is showing his white teeth. I swear they've been sharpened to look like vampire teeth, and I go, uh-oh, and start to get real cold inside, real icy, because I can see that Blade is trying to make up his mind. He's Is he going to fight me, or is he just going to kill me quick? Just then I hear the whoop of a siren. Like a miracle, this cop car comes out of nowhere, heading for the mill pond, and Blade takes one look, and he and his punksters are out of there, burning rubber in their Reeboks. Freak goes, woo! That was a close encounter of the turd kind. And it takes me a second to get the joke, but then I'm laughing, amazed he can be so cool about it. Like it was no big deal that Tony D was after us. You can take him, right? He asks a couple minutes later. I go, are you kidding? You can't just fight Blade. You have to fight his gang too. You mean you couldn't take him? And I was giving him lip? That's about the size of it. Freak goes, Oh my god! And he is shrieking and laughing and whooping it up so loud that everybody is looking at us like we're total goons, which isn't far from the truth. So we're going to pause there and come back here. Let's reread this excerpt from page 35 when Freak goes, "Woo, that was a close encounter of the turd kind." And it takes me a second to get the joke, but then I'm laughing, amazed he can be so cool about it, like it was no big deal that Tony D was after us. Which of the following do you see in this excerpt? Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a popular movie from 1977 about a group of people attempting to communicate with aliens. So we can see that they are switching the word third to turd. We learned about this last week. Which thing does this fit with? Is this a flashback, hyperbole, metaphor, or pun? If you need help, look at your knowledge organizer. And then I want you to explain your thinking. After you've checked your knowledge organizer, you know that it's this answer. Um, why did you pick that one? Why is changing third to turd this? When you're done, move on to cycle 3.